Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally back for the first episode of Plead Your Case in the 2024-25 school year here at Waynesburg University. NFL football is back this week, so of course, we're talking about it. We'll go over our top teams and potential surprises for the season and the new rules implemented for 2024. We also debut our brand new mini segment, 5 and 5. So let's waste no more time up here. Sit back and relax. It's time to plead your case.
Hey there, sports fans. You're watching another episode of Waynesburg University Community Television's only national sports debate show, Plead Your Case. Whether you're a diehard fan or a casual observer, get ready to join us every week as we dive deep into current pressing sports topics. Our panelists dissect every angle, every scenario, and every statistic to influence their fiery takes.
What has he done without Tom Brady?
And spirited arguments.
No, listen, Bowtie. Have you ever played Foursquare? No, you were too old to play Foursquare.
There will be no argument unexplored, and every take will be under review.
After reviewing the play...
Here in the Waynesburg University Communication Department, we believe in heated debates with a touch of friendly competition, which is why we also have a fresh 5 and 5 mini segment that you won't want to miss.
I don't think a pitcher is breaking Cy Young's wins record of 511.
You Google America's team and what do you get? You get the dollar.
So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious sports chat. It is time to plead your case.
And welcome into episode 1 of Plead Your Case for the 2024 fall semester. I am Michael McKenzie, joined by my wonderful panelists, Will Yoken to my immediate left. At the end of the table, we have Dean Shazer. We're back. How does it feel to be back for another semester of Plead Your Case here?
I'll start. I'm really excited overall for me in my overall school year. This junior year is really going to show me who I am as a sports broadcaster and as a person overall when it comes to my work ethic. So I'm really excited and I'm honored to be on the first episode of this 2024-2025 school year for Plead Your Case.
Yeah, it's the last ride for me. One last semester. I'm ready to be on Plead Your Case more times than just this one time. I got to be on here as many times as possible before I say my final goodbyes. So I'm honored to be here on the first episode of the new school year, and I'm honored to be with you guys here today.
All right, well, of course, this Thursday, the kickoff of the NFL season. We'll talk about the game in a little bit, but first, let's start out with the season in general. What are your guys' top storyline or storylines heading into the year? Will, we'll start with you on your last ride.
Yeah, I think what's on a lot of people's minds right now, the Chiefs three-peat. Are they gonna become the first ever NFL team in history to three-peat as Super Bowl champions? I mean, it's possible. Last year was supposed to be an off year for them, and they still won the Super Bowl. So they have all the weapons, they have all the tools that they need. They have Patrick Mahomes. Really, that's all you need in that kind of case to win a third Super Bowl. So I think the main storyline going into this year, can they three-peat?
Tim?
So you really honed in on it there. I feel like that's the main focus of the season is just the Kansas City Chiefs are still the dominant team in the NFL, and there's no other way of dancing around that statement. But I'm going to start off with a little bit of a controversial topic heading in to the NFL season, jump-starting right into the Packers-Eagles game, as they have a game in South America this season, the first NFL game in South America, which is in Brazil, a country that is notoriously known for high crime rate and a large amount of gang violence. Where they are specifically playing is Sao Paulo. It has a reputation for crime, armed robberies, mugging, thievery, and overall, even Darius Slay of the Eagles came out and said, I'm not bringing my family down there. It's kind of stupid for me to put them at risk, especially they're not even leaving the resort. They're staying in the hotel the whole time, both teams. 8.5-hour flight to go to South America. I understand you want to spread the game and expand the game, but you don't have to do it everywhere. And I believe that this was a bad decision. It's just poor decision making by Roger Goodell and the NFL as a whole. You've seen so much success in London, Germany, in places that are much safer for these players to go, and they can bring their families to places where people want to go. People want to see what's in Germany. People want to go to London. I just think they missed on this one.
Okay, and I think for me, I'm looking, how are the wide receivers going to perform? What was the big story this whole offseason? Big money contracts to receivers. Jamar Chase is still holding in for his. CeeDee Lamb got his deal. Justin Jefferson got a deal. Brandon Ayuk got his deal after, 5 months?
What a saga that was.
Ridiculous.
Hoopla. How are they going to perform? Are they going to earn their money and kind of pave the path for the rest of the receivers in the NFL to get paid? Or are they going to start becoming the next running backs, get phased out, become replaceable, and in turn, the contracts and the money's not really there for the position? That's what I'm looking at. But we talked about the Chiefs. You guys did at least. They're the top dogs in the NFL. Give me one team from the AFC that you think is going to be there with the Chiefs that has the best chance to dethrone them. Burrow and the Bengals, Lamar and the Ravens, Stroud and the Texans. Those seem to be the 3 popular picks to be there with the Chiefs. Dean, I'll start with you. Who do you think contends in the AFC other than Kansas City?
Well, I'm sure we're going to get to this part a little later, but C.J. Stroud is going to be one of the best players in the NFL this year, and that's just based off of what he did last year. But I think it's Burrow and the Bengals. Joe Burrow coming off of a big injury last year, looking for a bounce-back year, even though Jamar Chase has said he's not going to play without being paid, which is selfish on his part because he has 2 years left on his contract, and I feel as if the way every NFL receiver has handled their contract is just making players like Jamar Chase see that, oh, I'm a top 5 receiver in the league. I can do what I want with my money, and he's taking advantage of it. But if they dance around that situation, I think Joe Burrow has a chance to compete with Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, that's all fine and dandy, but that's only if Burrow can stay healthy. He's kind of had trouble staying on the field, and when we've seen him when he's able to stay on the field, took him to a Super Bowl. I mean, that's simple. So if he's able to stay healthy, I think the Bengals probably could have a shot. He's one of, if not the only kryptonites towards Patrick Mahomes other than Tom Brady. But if I'm going to go with one of the AFC teams, I have the Texans on here. C.J. Stroud going to be a phenomenal player this year. I think he's going to take a step up from his rookie season, and he did phenomenal last year. This will probably be one of the best Texans years that we've seen since 2013 when they had that humongous run. However, I also put /Chiefs because I'm struggling to see right now an AFC team that can dethrone the Chiefs. I put the Texans there loosely just because I really do want to see them succeed for how much they've been struggling the past couple of years. And now that they have that franchise quarterback, it's still going to be tough to take down Patrick Mahomes and those Chiefs.
I'm on the same exact boat. Rashee Rice going to be improved. Travis Kelce, still Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. And that defense was a young core last year. And another offseason of growing together and meshing as one is really going to help them out.
I'm kind of excited to see what one of the fastest guys in the league now, even though he's a rookie, Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
How's he going to fit in? Because Andy Reid loves his speedsters. I think he's going to thrive as well. Let's go over to the NFC. It's a top-heavy conference. There's not a lot of depth to it, but you got a lot of top-tier teams. Niners, Eagles, Cowboys, Lions, etc. Who do you guys think is going to represent that conference in the Super Bowl or at least make it to the conference championship game?
Yeah, I'm going with the Lions. They were that close last year. They had the Niners in the first half. They just couldn't put it together. And the Niners had all of the pieces put together in that second half, and they ran with it. It was definitely the Lions' year last year, but they can definitely push and keep that going and make it back to the NFC Championship, maybe even back in Detroit. Maybe they can host the championship, host the entire NFC playoffs through Detroit and make it even easier. But, I mean, they had it in their hands, and they just let it go in that second half. I mean, you need all 60 minutes to win a football game. You really do. And they only played 30. So I'm going to stick with the Lions right now, but it's going to be a fight between the Lions and the Niners again.
Dean, what's your thoughts on the NFC?
I agree with the 49ers still being a top team. They didn't lose hardly anyone. They signed Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, a big draft pick who looked promising until he was almost tragically shot. Well, he was shot, but almost tragically. The other day, he asked the paramedics if he thought he was going to die. So, I mean, I think the 49ers might play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, not just because of that, because they've been inches away the past 5 years. When Jimmy Garoppolo was there, they lost to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. And then just last year, losing again to Patrick Mahomes, but this time it was Brock Purdy. And not so much a sleeper team, but a team who had a down year last year in the NFC, who's going to have a better year this year. And And part of that reason is because Saquon Barkley is still a top 5 running back, in my opinion, or the Philadelphia Eagles. The only thing that is going to stop the Eagles is Jalen Hurts' execution. And I also wonder if Nick Sirianni's message is getting a little bit stale. It seemed as if the message kind of got lost toward the end of the season last year.
I think it'll be interesting to see how they do without Jason Kelsey, the anchor of that offensive line for however many years. And now you got to go with a new center. That's not going to be an easy thing to overcome for the Eagles. But I agree, all 3 of those teams are going to be right there the entire season, at least 12 wins for all of them, in my opinion. Let's go to some award winners. Who's going to be taking home some of the individual hardware, MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year? Who's taking it home this year after last year, you could argue, was one of the more controversial award giving, one of the most controversial award shows with how many people won, and it was disputed. There was at least 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. You could probably go with 4 that should have gone the other way. At the very least, it was disputed. Who do you think's taking home the individual hardware in 2024, though?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with my MVP candidate first. In my honest opinion, it's got to be Tyreek Hill. This is a guy that honestly should have won it last year. The stats last year, he had 119 receptions, 1,799 yards with 13 touchdowns. He was averaging 15.1 yards per catch. I mean, those stats were incredible. And this award has been a QB award for years. And I've been thinking that it shouldn't have been, and it should go to any of the top players, whether defensively or any other position other than quarterback, since prime Antonio Brown. Tyreek Hill definitely has just that speed, that athleticism, and he's still one of the, if not the, top receivers. I think he is the top receiver in the NFL who can get it done and become the first, non-QB MVP award winner in a very long time.
See, here's where I think you went wrong. You don't have a quarterback there. I think the MVP.
I don't think it should be a quarterback award no more.
I think the MVP award has become a quarterback award, and I think that's known league-wide. And me saying that I have C.J. Stroud after a big rookie year with 4,100 yards and a 23 touchdown to 5 interception ratio with a 64% completion rate, while beating the Cleveland Browns, who had the Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, and the Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett, who shouldn't have won it, neither of them. It should have been DeMeco Ryans, C.J. Stroud's head coach, who led a 2-14 Texans team to 9-8 after drafting C.J. Stroud and won a playoff game. Yeah, he should have won that award. And with the addition of Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon, that's an elite offense. And Dalton Schultz still brings that versatility to the tight end position. That's a really solid offense with a great defensive-minded coach. And I'm going to jump right into this Offensive Player of the Year because it contradicts Tyreek Hill. CeeDee Lamb had, what'd you say, he had 122 receptions, Tyreek Hill did?
He had 119 receptions.
119, CeeDee Lamb had 135. Tyreek Hill had, I think, 40 more yards.
Yeah, 1,799 yards.
CeeDee Lamb had 1,750. Tyreek Hill had 13 touchdowns.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb had 12. And also, CeeDee Lamb popped off in his playoff game, 9 for 110 against Green Bay. And Tyreek Hill, he didn't even lead the league in, what was that one stat?
15.1 yards averaging per catch.
Per catch. George Pickens and Brandon Ayuk were more elite in that category. So I think CeeDee Lamb is my Offensive Player of the Year, and the MVP is a quarterback award, that being C.J. Stroud's this year.
All right, you guys, give me one name. All you need is a name. We're going to go rapid fire right at the end of the segment for Defensive Player of the Year, and then Joachim, you could add your Offensive Player in the Year in there, one name. We'll start with Dean. Who's your deep boy?
T.J. Watt.
Will, Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year?
My Offensive Player of the Year is going to be C.J. Stroud, as the points mentioned before. My Defensive Player of the Year is going to be Max Crosby.
Okay. All right, I've got MVP C.J. Stroud, Offensive Player of the Year Garrett Wilson, Defensive Player of the Year T.J. Watt. That's going to wrap it up for our first segment, though. Coming up next, our brand new mini segment, 5 and 5.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Michael McKenzie, and welcome back to Plead Your Case.
Plead Your Case, Waynesburg University's only national sports debate show.
You see what it said? This is 83 and 104.
If you're a sports fan, this is the show for you. Each week, we cover the most relevant news and hear arguments from all angles.
Tom Brady recently went on the air and said, I believe there's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL.
There's all the hot takes you could ask for.
Mike Tomlin is the most mediocre head coach of all time.
And fiery back and forths.
No, listen, Bowtie. It's like Foursquare. Have you ever played Foursquare? No, you were too old to play Foursquare.
So whether it's on camera or behind the scenes, sit back, relax.
It's time to plead your case.
And welcome back to the first episode of Plead Your Case for the 2024 fall semester. It's time for our brand new mini segment. We call it 5 in 5. Our two panelists will get 5 topics. They get 5 minutes total to debate them, 30 seconds apiece. I will award a point to the winner. Whoever wins the most debates out of the 5 will win. Now, it's an uneven number, so we will not have a tie at the end of this. I promise you, I will not decide that the 5th one is a half a point and a half a point just so we can get a tie. We will have a winner in the 5 regulation debate topics. So it's time to bring on 2 new panelists. Joey Cirillo to my immediate left, and at the end of the table, Ethan Spazarski. You guys ready to go at it? Because the friendships are out the window now.
Yeah.
He means nothing to me.
Yeah, we're roommates. He's no longer my roommate.
He's dead
right
to
now.
me.
Mm-hmm.
I have no love
Agreed.
for this man anymore.
All right, let's waste no more time getting into it. We did a best of 3 rock, paper, scissors before this to determine who goes first, considering it is an advantage. Ethan Spazarski, a clean 2-0 sweep. So you'll get the first say. You get to start. Our first topic will go to football. Should penalties in the NFL be reviewable under 2 minutes in each half? We know that there are no coaches' challenges in that point, so should we add reviews to the things that the booth can call a review for? Your 30 seconds starts now.
Absolutely, yes. There's no doubt in my mind. Last year, I couldn't count on my hands how many times we saw games that were decided by last-minute penalties, or in the past where penalties that weren't called. It's absolutely flabbergasting to me how important it is to, be accurate and be correct. And there are times where referees just don't do that. It's costing games. I think we need to review all penalties, period.
All right, perfect. Joey.
Well, however, I do agree with Ethan down the line. I only agree on 2 penalties. 2 penalties are pass interference and roughing the passer. Those should be the only 2 penalties that are reviewable under the 2 minutes to go. After that, offsides, anything like that, holding, those should not be reviewable whatsoever. Only pass interference on the offensive and defensive side, and roughing the passer.
All right, well, you both did it in well under 30 seconds, so we're making good time here. All right, second one. Joey, you get to go first this time. Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes?
I'm going Tom Brady. It's no question. He is the GOAT. Right now, he's the GOAT. There is no question about it. Patrick Mahomes is still too young, although he's won 3 Super Bowls, and I'll give him his flowers. He's been a great competitor in the NFL so far. But Brady has so much in his record. He has basically 3 Hall of Fame careers built into one, and just, Mahomes won't pass him for the next 2 years, at least in my opinion.
All right, since we're done living in the past now, let's get to the future here, because Patrick Mahomes in his first 7 seasons has pretty much overcome everything Tom Brady did, and he's only getting started. Right now, at this point, Patrick Mahomes has almost 7,000 more passing yards than Tom Brady did, has 72 more touchdowns. They do have the same amount of Super Bowl wins. However, Mahomes has 3 Super Bowl MVPs more and 2 more NFL MVPs more than Tom Brady did this time. I understand there's a little bit of a time difference in how much time there is, but right now, Mahomes, he's the guy.
Your time is up. All right, number 3. Back to Ethan. Should steroid era users be banned from the MLB Hall of Fame?
No, but I think only their stats before they started using steroids should count towards their Hall of Fame career, because it's not fair. Granted, there are some cases where the steroids maybe didn't enhance everybody in a certain situation, but it should not count past that, because it is an unfair advantage. Lyle Alzado is a prime example. I know it's a different sport. He was a Raider for football, but it gave him an unfair advantage. It costed him his health, and they broke the rules.
And that is your time. Good. Right on 30 seconds. All right, Joey.
I'm saying no as well, but my biggest thing is Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds had 2 Hall of Fame careers built into one before he used those steroids and one after. Therefore, he should be put into Cooperstown. Plus, Cooperstown is not just about how well you played the game, it's what you did for the game and what you changed and how your character within the MLB was. And I think Barry Bonds is one of the biggest components of that, along with Jackie Robinson and Babe Ruth. Therefore, he should be in Cooperstown.
All right, 3 down, 2 to go. Number 4, Joey, you get to start this one. Should professional franchises be able to relocate?
I say yes, however, and that however is that only if the time and necessary demands it, a necessity demands it. If, ticket sales aren't going well like the Oakland A's have experience, then it's okay for them to move on into Vegas and stuff. But I mean, if you don't really have a purpose, you're just doing it for money because you're greedy, you want to have more money, then that's when I would then say no. But for now, yeah, I don't see a problem with it.
Not even.
I agree, but business is business, man. This world is cruel and unfair. I mean, the NFL is a business first and foremost. That is the biggest thing. MLB, everyone's thinking, how can we make the most money? How can we adapt and continue to be the best league possible and keep up like with the NFL? So if it involves relocation, you're going to have to do it. And financially, like Joey mentioned, if it makes sense, you definitely should do it. But business people are going to do it anyways. If it's best for business, they're going to do it no matter what. Not if they don't care about feelings at the end of the day, who can make the most money. And that's just how it is.
All right, on to our last one. This could be the deciding factor. I may have already decided it. You guys don't know. Let's see how you guys treat it. Number 5, we'll go back to Ethan. This is why winning the rock, paper, scissors is crucial. You get to start first on this one. Is the NFL too harsh on fining players?
No. Here's my thought. Calvin Ridley bet on a few games. He broke the rules, deserved to be punished, suspended a whole year. Rashee Rice, DUI, broke the law after the Super Bowl. He still has not yet to be punished. There is too much inconsistency throughout the NFL when dealing with how you punish players for certain rules. It needs to be cracked down to specific things and being consistent. They're too inconsistent. They're not keeping it fair and the same. I think that pretty much says all my case.
Joey?
I'm going to say yes, but there's a fine print to it. They are too harsh on fining players in certain aspects. I think they've gotten it down to the drug problem very nicely. They've been able to, crack 6 game, maybe 8 game, maybe the entire season, depending on it. But for betting, why are we giving, Jameson Williams and Calvin Ridley these whole year suspensions just because they're betting on one game that doesn't maybe not even affects their play? But then when you go into those DUI aspects like you brought up with Rashee Rice, we haven't even heard anything. When it comes down to those, violence and hurting people in the real world,
and
then that's when it comes
is
down.
Your time. I will say it did come down to the last one. It wasn't
Okay,
even
all right,
2-2
that's good.
tie.
That's
I'm in. You know what? I'm actually impressed that I got 2, so I'm pretty happy.
All right. Joey Cirillo is our winner by a score of 3-2. Interestingly enough, you won the rock, paper, scissors, so you got to go first for 3. You went first for 2.
Yeah.
The person who went second, I had as my winner for every single one.
Really? Wow.
I did not think that was going to happen at all. The person I had
So
second
you think
won every
Patrick
single
Mahomes
one.
over Brady?
I thought Tom Brady, but the way Spose put it, he did change my mind on that one.
Nah, I don't
That's
like
fine. I'll take it. That's all. That's my win. I don't care.
That is a win because it's very hard to change my mind on certain things.
That's fine.
Good
I'll
job,
take my
Spose.
win. Thank you.
That's going to wrap it up for our 5 and 5 mini segment, the first of this semester for Plead Your Case. When we come back, we'll be rejoined by Will Yoakum and Dean Shazer to discuss the NFL season opener and the new rule changes for 2024.
Hey there, sports fans. You're watching another episode of Waynesburg University Community Television's only national sports debate show, Plead Your Case. Whether you're a diehard fan or a casual observer, get ready to join us every week as we dive deep into current pressing sports topics. Our panelists dissect every angle, every scenario, and every statistic to influence their fiery takes.
What has he done without Tom Brady?
And spirited arguments.
No, listen, Bowtie. Have you ever played Foursquare? No, you were too old to play Foursquare.
There will be no argument unexplored, and every take will be under review.
After reviewing the play,
Here in the Waynesburg University Communication Department, we believe in heated debates with a touch of friendly competition, which is why we also have a fresh 5 and 5 mini segment that you won't want to miss.
I don't think a pitcher is breaking Cy Young's wins record of 511.
You Google America's team, and what do you get? You get the dollar.
So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious sports chat. It is time to plead your case.
And welcome back into the final segment on this episode of Plead Your Case. We're talking new rule changes in the NFL and the opening game coming up this Thursday. First, we're going to get into the rule changes. 2 major ones to keep note of as you start watching NFL football this year. First is the new kickoff rules and the new setup for kickoffs this year. 2 returners will stand between the 20-yard line and the goal line. That is going to be called the landing zone. The kickoff coverage team will line up at the 40-yard line closest to the landing zone. The kickoff return blockers will line up at the 35, just 5 yards behind the 40. Players other than the returner we'll have to wait until the kick is received by the returner to start moving and try to get a block or make a tackle. And then onside kicks will be announced beforehand instead of there being that element of surprise with an onside kick. That is going to be completely removed from the game. Before we talk about the hip drop tackle, I'm going to bring Will Yoakum and Dean Shazer back in here. What do you guys think about the new kickoff rule? They got this from the XFL, trying it out this year. You think it's going to make the game better, more exciting? It's supposed to make kickoffs more explosive and exciting again. Do you think it's going to achieve that?
No. I mean, yes and no. It depends. So, I wrote a good and a bad to this. Good, it forces more kickoff returns. We're not going to get nearly as many touchbacks before. So we're going to probably see something exciting happen. However, now you're starting to penalize those kickers that can boom that ball outside the end zone, because if it does go outside the end zone, you're putting the ball at the 30 instead of wherever you can tackle them behind the 30. And then if it goes out of bounds, it's still at the 40, so that was never changed. Also with the onside kick rule, that was kind of unnecessary. I mean, the beauty of that was you could kick it whenever, at any time, no matter winning or losing, you can kick that. And it's been just a staple of the game for decades. To take it away and to say that you have to announce it now and while you're losing, that takes the fun out of it. That's why people call it the no fun league.
Dean?
The new kickoff rule, I think, is good, and it's a good change, especially temporarily, because I looked at the new rules and it said it's only a 1-year change for now, unlike the hip drop tackle, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But as of right now, the new kickoff is a good thing for the league and for viewership. It's just going to be a matter of time when these teams start saying, all right, we're just going to boot it into the back of the end zone and give them the extra 5 yards instead of having the chance of meeting at the 25-yard line, because these teams are starting to meet in between the 20 and 25 when initial contact is made for the kickoff, compared to some teams will get down there and you have your end guys and your 8 and your 9, or your 4 and your 5s on kickoff, which is what we called it in high school. They're the outside guys on kickoff, and they steam down and really take angles away. And now you have dudes who just get the ball 10 yards from contact, and it's pretty much a handoff. And there's big handoffs all the time. There's not big kickoffs all the time. So in that sense, I think it's a good thing. And the onside kick is the worst thing that they have done in the past few years, even with the new targeting rules and pretty much just the targeting rules. And the pass interference rules I liked, where you don't have to turn. That happened, 10 years ago or something, 8 to 10. But this is one of the strangest rules they've done, is taking away the onside kick, because it's 10 yards at a point of contact. At what point are we going to realize that's still part of the game? It's football. It's physical.
The other big rule change to keep in mind, the NFL has banned the hip drop tackle now. Now, if that's going to be at the discretion of referees to call a hip drop tackle, is pretty cut and dry, personal foul, 15-yard penalty. But it's been a tackle that has been a part of football for years and years and years. The injuries from the tackle have started to pile up in recent years, which is what spurred the discussion. I think I know what you two are going to say about this, and I think I feel the same way. But let's get the opinions on it. I'll start with Dean. What do you think about this?
If you look at the NFL.com, their new video on showing why the hip drop tackle needs to be banned, it is a terrible example of why it needs to be banned. It shows one play of a player just hitting Geno Smith late out of bounds. It's a late hip drop or not, that's illegal no matter what. So I think that was a poor play to use as example. So there's one reason why they're nitpicking here. Another one was probably a 190-pound defensive back trying to tackle a 255-pound tight end on a screen play. How else do you want him to tackle him? He has to use all of his momentum to bring him to the ground. That is the game of football. I forgot what happened, America. This is football. We have guardian caps. That's fine. Use your guardian caps. The new kickoff rule, that's fine. Onside kicks being taken away, ridiculous. This happening, ridiculous. The other play was the play where Tony Pollard got hurt, which was just a freak accident. But come on. You can't. You got to take. How's a 190-pound defensive back going to tackle a 260-pound tight end? Darnell Washington versus Caleb Farley. If you saw that, I know Caleb Farley doesn't have a job, but like that size, like Farley's a smaller cornerback. Darnell Washington's the biggest tight end in the league. How's he going to tackle?
Will, I assume you feel the same
No,
way.
that was exactly right now. Like, I get it. I'm all for player safety. The new Guardian cap thing, I'm for players wearing that. I mean, it looked kind of silly when they wear it at practice, and now you can wear it in the game, and they got the little like skull cap you can put over top of it. But I'm all for that. Anything for player safety. Now, the hip drop tackle, that's been in for years. Yeah, the injuries pile up now, but you can easily blame that on the training and fitness coaches rather than just the tackle itself. People don't know how to tackle anymore. You know, aka Ryan Shazier a couple years ago with his whole spine injury. People just don't know how to tackle anymore. You blame the coaches. You don't really necessarily blame the players in that kind of situation, and you don't take away certain aspects like that. How are defenders supposed to tackle anymore these days?
And I feel as if this tackle, so-called the way you tackle, a hip drop tackle, I haven't heard this since, 2021? They gave it a name because it hurt one player, and then, you see it, 3 times every 3 weeks? So not really like once a week. It happened 2 times a week. None this week. Once this week on Monday Night Football with more eyes watching. So, we must ban it because one freak injury happened. It's just getting ridiculous. And player safety, I completely understand, but also 15-yard penalties, a warning. That's the other ridiculous thing. Is this is a personal foul?
Yeah.
This is 15 yards.
It's huge.
It's
automatic
it's
first
big.
down.
It's a first down and a half.
Game changer.
From the 50 to the 35 puts you in field goal range. It's getting out of hand.
And I do agree with you guys on that. I'm on the same lines. But we're getting towards the end of the episode here. Thursday night, the season kicks off. Chiefs hosting the Ravens, hoisting their third banner in the or in the Patrick Mahomes area. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a ring yet. Could he get one this year? I'm not too sure. But what do you guys think is going to happen on Thursday night? Right now, at the filming of this, we're a little over 48 hours away from kickoff of the season. When you're watching this, probably a little over 24 hours. But what are you guys expecting from opening night?
So I mean, this could go either way. I mean, you either have a nail-biter close game that comes to the wire, or you got a blowout on either side. The Chiefs could blow out the Ravens, or vice versa. I mean, the Chiefs last year got stunned by the Lions in the opening game of the season. So it is possible to beat the defending Super Bowl champions in the opening game of the year. And the Ravens can easily do that. Speaking of the Ravens, they've been 10-4 in the last 14 seasons in opening season games. So this is really, this is the Ravens' game to win, and more so the Chiefs' game to lose. But, it could either go either way. If I had to have a prediction and a final score, I think Ravens will take it 31-27.
Danny?
I think it's going to be hard for Lamar to put up anywhere near 31 points against this Chiefs defense, especially knowing his history against the Kansas City Chiefs. He doesn't do that great. I think there's 2 teams in the league that have Lamar Jackson's number, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs. If you look statistically and historically at the records, like you said, Lamar's 0-2 versus Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to get his first win this year, especially in Arrowhead, after knowing they lost their opening night on their ceremonial opening night last year to the Lions, a team that was supposed to have a good year, and they ended up coming within themselves. Just really shocked the Chiefs. That's not going to happen. The Chiefs are ready for this one. They've played Baltimore before. They've played them in the AFC Championship, and they know what to expect.
I'm just saying in the past 14 seasons, the Ravens have dominated their season opener opponents, or they've lost 4 times, less than a handful of times. So either they put up big points in the first game of the year, or they lose. And that's why I even said this game could go either way for both teams.
Patrick Mahomes and Spags as a defensive coordinator is too much for Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh.
I agree. I'm going with the Chiefs in this game. I think the Ravens are going to have a bit of a disappointing season from expectations. They lost a lot of defensive depth that I think will hurt them. But I'm going to put you guys on the spot before we go off the air. Do the Chiefs repeat, yes or no? You don't have to give me the team that would win it. If they don't, just give me, do the Chiefs repeat?
Yes.
I'm saying it's the most likely chance of a three-peat we've seen.
I say no. I don't think they're going to repeat.
It's going to be tough.
So
Winning 3 times in a row is really hard in the hardest league in the world.
But looking at last year with how it was supposed to be an off year and a down year for them, and they still won the whole thing, it's hard to beat.
They could.
People don't win Super Bowls back to back,
let alone 3.
But it can happen.
Well, when you have the arguably second greatest quarterback of all time. Already at 28 years old, 29.
He's still, I mean, he's pretty
Not even
young.
30.
Yeah, he's
Not even
pretty
30
young.
years
He's not
old.
even at 30 years old.
Three
He won
rings.
3 Super Bowls.
This guy's ridiculous. Patrick Mahomes is a phenom. Just appreciate what you watch, folks.
He's a
Because I
stud.
didn't appreciate Tom Brady
He's a stud.
until he left.
Well, I'm gonna differ from the panel as we go off. I don't think they're gonna repeat, but they could because the Chiefs, they're a dynasty, and they were coronated last year against the 49ers. But that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Plead Your Case. Thank you for watching. Make sure to stay tuned on our WCTV YouTube page for all Plead Your Case and campus content other than that this year.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.